We're live for just T minus 20 hours for the final of the Asia Cup 2023. It's been a rather long Asia Cup.
It just feels that way.
Just
It feels extra long because of the amount of rain interruptions, reserve days, and everything in between that has happened.
Exactly. Oof. I mean, we are coming off a very strange situation that is there, okay? One day prior to the final, okay? You have a rest day today, there has been no practice, no interactions whatsoever. But there are two major news that has happened. One, that is the secondary thing.
Okay.
No one is actually that worried that we lost to Bangladesh.
For whatever
A
reason.
second string Indian team losing to a second string Bangladesh team, essentially.
Speaks volumes.
Speaks volumes. Either we are very confident, either we are not that worried, or we are just not too concerned because we have already made the final. And at the cost of the final, which we are saying, Akshar Patel is out. Washington Sundar has been drafted into the squad, but whether he will make it to the playing 11, that is a different situation altogether.
I doubt.
It'll be Shardul.
But actually, considering the fact that it's going to be at the Premadasa.
And it'll be a spinning deck.
Exactly. And now you're actually playing three different spinners.
Yeah.
You'd have a left arm orthodox, a
You have
left arm Chinaman,
Yep.
and you'd have an off spinner. So actually three types of spinners. You might be tempted and drop Shardul.
And because Washington Sundar is a good bat also.
Yeah, you might just drop Shardul and keep Akshar at number 8.
Yep.
Sorry, Akshar, I mean Washington.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because he gives you that depth and also an extra spinning option, which is something that we've been seeing in the Sri Lanka and Bangladesh as well. Bangladesh game as well.
Even Pakistan, remember?
Yeah.
Iftikhar.
Yeah.
And one more, left-hander with the bat.
Yes.
He's a left-hander. So if you get him
pluses
in,
all around.
Jaddu, if Sundar comes in, Jaddu, Sundar, Ishan, those are your three left-handers in that playing 11. Because Nikhil was saying in the start of the day that when Akshar Patel got replaced, you will not want to risk Shreyas Iyer in the final. If Shreyas Iyer doesn't get game time in the final, then all those reports circulating that maybe he could not be picked for the World Cup, that might prove to be true at this point. So we'll discuss about the playing 11 a bit later. But then now the main topic that is there today, can India afford to take Sri Lanka lightly in the Asia Cup final?
Short answer, no.
Because it's the two most successful teams that are playing in the history of the Asia Cup. India has won 7, which is 6 ODI trophies and 1 T20I trophy. Sri Lanka has won 5 ODI trophies, 1 T20I trophy. If Sri Lanka win, it will be a record equaling 7th. If India win, record extending 8th.
Correct.
So both have had their ups and downs. For example, Sri Lanka came into this tournament with a lot of fitness issues. They had missed key players in Vanindu Hasaranga, they had missed Lahiru Kumara, they had missed Dilshan Madhushanka. Now there is one more major injury that has deepened their woes.
Thikshana.
Mahesh Thikshana's injury is a body blow. I mean, it's because he was your enforcer in the middle overs, also in the power play, also in the death.
Yeah.
Now he is gone. That means Sri Lanka's woes have only increased at this point in time. And India, look, if you look at their confrontations in the last Asia Cups, whenever they have played the final, it's 4-3 in favor of India. So it's not as if India overwhelmingly dominate the rivalry. 4 matches India have won, 3 matches Sri Lanka have won. But in this decade alone, in this 21st century, it's 2-1 to Sri Lanka. They won in 2004, they won in 2008, India got it back in 2010, and 2014 they didn't play in the final, 18 they didn't play in the final, and India and Sri Lanka, they didn't play in the respective finals of 14 and 18. Then in 2022 it was a T20 tournament. Now after 13 years we are seeing an India versus Sri Lanka final. If you, just before we get to the main question of can we afford to take Sri Lanka lightly, what is your best memory of an India versus Sri Lanka Asia Cup final?
That's a good question.
My God,
Probably
I can
2018.
remember nothing.
But they didn't play the final.
Oh, they didn't play the final? Oh, yeah, right.
That's why you should have watched the video that I was doing. Because I had spoken about...
We had our own videos to do.
Exactly.
See, for me, my favorite instance was this, remember. Mendes, 6 for 13 in that Asia Cup final at Karachi, where he absolutely bamboozled the Indian batting.
Was it 2004 when Sri Lanka beat them in the final?
Yes.
I remember that year. It was a bit of an underwhelming year.
Yeah. Tendulkar had made 74. Dilshan got him out and he had that phoenix-like celebration, but it was Sangakkara and I think it was Jayasuriya who hit 50s in that match. So you could all remember 2010, the MS Dhoni era. Didn't you all remember that game? 2010 at Dambula when they won the Asia Cup.
2010.
2010, Dhoni's Asia Cup title also. The only time he's won the Asia Cup T20 ODI title.
ODI title.
Yes, that was it, because what happened in Dambula, only 2 batters got a 50 in that entire game. Ashish Nehra started 4 for 40. Trivia, guess who was the Indian batter who got a 50 in that match in the final? Asia Cup final. Who was the batter?
Sachin Tendulkar?
No.
I'll
You
just
will
start
not
naming.
believe it.
Rahul Dravid?
No. Dravid was not in the scheme of things
In 2010, exactly. He had already
Right.
been phased out of white ball cricket.
I'll give you a hint. He used to play for RCB.
You have to remember I was 10 years old.
But
So,
he played until 2020, 2022.
there are so many players who
Till
played for
2022?
RCB.
Yes.
For RCB?
Yes.
I would
I
know,
have
then
no
not
clue.
him.
DK.
Oh, yeah.
DK hit a 50 in that
You should
match.
have said the best finisher for India.
To be fair, DK was playing in 2023 also. So
Yeah.
That's why. But was he playing?
he
DK was
did.
playing in
He
23.
did. He didn't have great form.
Oh, two,
That's
I think
why-
2-3 games
Yeah,
played.
he didn't
That's
have great form. That's why I didn't remember him.
right. So that is the real situation at this point in time. So that's about India versus Sri Lanka. Gargi said no, you can't take them lightly. But despite Sri Lanka's weaknesses with the bat, because remember they have been much more vulnerable with the bat than they have been with the ball. As
Yeah,
a
I
bowling
think-
unit, they have been good.
Yeah, because their spinners have really chipped in, and they've at times, been able to make the most out of, let's say, good spin bowling
Yeah, yeah,
conditions. Their batting, on the other hand, bit of a concern. To be fair, I mean, even the match against Pakistan, it was Sri Lanka's batting that ended up almost throwing things away.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
also,
mean-
it was just 2 or 3 batters that really got them out of jail. Kusal Mendes was one, Asalanka was one, and the third.
Sadira Samaravikrama.
Yes. Who had to walk off, of course.
Yeah, no. He got stumped.
Yeah.
Who was the one who got hurt?
It was Sadira Samaravikrama, but he batted on. He
Oh.
didn't walk off. He batted on, but he got stumped on 48 by
right.
Rizwan of Iftikhar. Iftikhar bowled a straight delivery and he got stumped. But the lower middle order doesn't inspire me any kind of confidence for Sri Lanka.
Correct.
Because Dasun Shanaka has failed.
His form with the bat in particular has fallen off a cliff
Yeah.
from the first half of the year.
Exactly. Dasun's form is a bit worrying.
In fact, I think the last good knock he probably played would have been the knock against India. I think
Against India, yes.
Yeah, against India. After that, I think his form has been poor. Remember, even in the IPL, people said, oh, he should be picked in this, that. And then he did get a gig for Gujarat Titans, but a couple of games he played didn't do much.
Didn't do much at all. And we are
Pata hai
joined by
bhai.
Nikhil from Colombo. And Nikhil, how is the build up for the India versus Sri Lanka that's developing there? Is there a big buzz or are people just taking it calmly, waiting for the big day to come?
How can people be calm, Siddharth? It's the eve of the final. The home team have made it. It's much like in India. I have been inundated with ticket requests from the Sri Lankans. Friends that I've made, from the tuk-tuk driver to the waiter who serves us breakfast to everyone that I know from Sri Lanka wants me to arrange a ticket for them. So there's no calm. Sri Lankans are all geared up. Tomorrow you will see a packed house at the Premadasa Stadium. And it will be overwhelmingly in support of the local team, which is Sri Lanka. So it's all building up to be a good final. There are chances of rain, I was seeing,
Yeah.
but hopefully we should get a game. There's a reserve day too. I just hope it doesn't go to the reserve day. That's all.
Exactly. We have all had those reserve day fiascos a lot. But Nikhil, today there was no practice whatsoever, but the Sri Lankan team practiced, if I'm not wrong, right? They practiced at the Premadasa today.
Yeah, they did, but which is understandable. Sri Lanka did not have a game yesterday. India did, so it was understandable that India would be resting. They wouldn't have any practice session. Earlier, it was thought that maybe the players that were not playing in that game versus Bangladesh should have come for practice, but even that was not needed because, as you know, we reported here on Sports Today that those players practiced while the game was on. Versus Bangladesh, they came into the nets. Hardik Pandya, Virat, Shreyas, all of them practiced. So, yeah, there was no need for practice as such today.
Okay. Nikhil, but the major news, there were two major news in both the camps that happened. Akshar Patel ruled out, Washington Sundar coming back in. But for Sri Lanka, a huge setback with Tikshana ruled out. Is that absence going to be the major factor that Sri Lanka head into this kind of match rather as the underdogs, or do you think it was always going to be the same, irrespective of whether Tikshana was there or not? Sri Lanka were the underdogs heading into the final.
No, they were definitely the underdog because of how India. I think that game that was played between India and Sri Lanka, the previous game that was played, that was the most conducive for spin bowling, and in that sense, by an extension, the pitch that would have favored Sri Lanka the most. I'm not saying it does not favor an Indian team, but in terms of what would be the liking of a particular team, it would be to Sri Lanka's liking, that sort of a pitch that you saw between India and Sri Lanka. So with that in mind, and on that pitch also, if India could get their way back into the game and then eventually cross the line and win that game, if they did it in those conditions, then the pitch that we're going to get for the final is, I believe, not good. I mean, it'll of course be assisting the spinners, but not as much of a rank turner that we saw in that game between India and Sri Lanka. So if that is the case, then I think it makes India even more favourite. Having said that, it's a big final. Sri Lanka knows how to win finals, especially we've seen it at the Asia Cup last time around when it was a T20 format. Nobody gave them a chance. Everyone, India-Pakistan final. Pakistan made it, but Sri Lanka just, on that day of the final, knew how to win it. And again, you spoke about that crowd advantage. That will make a huge difference. And also that they're playing at home at their fortress. So all of that does make Sri Lanka a formidable team too. But I'd have to give slight edge to India. I mean, talking about Tikshana, yes, it's going to be a major loss. The fact that they've lost Tikshana, I mean, he's been that one bowler who's continued to bowl for them, no matter what the situation, and no matter what the moment also of the game at that time, is sometime that situation of the game. There's a friend of ours who's just barged into the hotel room without informing, without even knocking. He's just come in. You can say hi. You can say hi to our friends there.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, we are live. They're going to cut to them, then you'll be able to see. Right now, they're not cutting to them. So
They're doing I'm not important enough. Some stranger is walking.
there. You can see them there.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Vimal sir. Hi.
So Vimal is there. Not a lot of you know that Vimal and me.
I can take over.
No, you can. Yeah, please.
No, you can. Yeah, tell me.
When we were in a nascent stage of our careers, also worked together in two different places together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Two different places, the TWI and then
AajTak.
at AajTak. And then we went separate ways. But cricket tours ensure that we keep meeting or bumping into each other. Now he's come here. Barged into the room without even knowing. I was just surprised who's just come behind. That's why I stuttered. He asked me for the room number. He's come in. He's basically come to borrow a mic, and I'm not sure whether I want to give him a mic or not. So you guys tell me, should I give him?
Sure, as a freelancer, I am asking for any help from anyone.
Yeah.
So I am rich enough that I have friends like you who are always there, willing to help me across the world. Not only with the assignment and all that, with all the stuff.
So what do you reckon? The question that was asked to me is like, who's the favorite India Sri Lanka? I went with saying that I'll give slight edge to India, even though Sri Lanka at home, dangerous, spinners, very good. India struggled against spinners. All of that in mind. Who are you giving an edge to?
I think even Sri Lanka would rate India as favorite because it will be India's game to lose because the way they have performed throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
And we have covered this Indian team. Never ever in the last 1.5 years they have looked so confident, full bench. You see, and even you will find it who should be the part of the 11, who should not be.
Yeah.
Team, the top batters are among the runs, the all-rounders are fit, firing, ready to the spinners are among wicket. So this is just before a World Cup, like tournament like World Cup, you want a team like this. This is like a dream preparation, especially what you saw, what happened in West Indies or England. Every time you are worried someone is getting injured at the 11th hour or something, someone losing their form. But it just like looks like a perfect preparation.
Acha, tell me one thing.
Yeah.
The juicy news that is coming out of Colombo is that just before the Pakistan team left, have you heard that or not?
No, I haven't. Maybe if you
So just before the Pakistan team left, after they lost that game, there was a team meeting, and Babar Azam, gives the team talk in the team meeting, and there was a lot of friction that happened. You haven't heard? Don't tell
no,
me.
but this is nothing surprising.
Yeah.
This is the DNA of Pakistani team. Ever since even the best of the best Pakistani team, especially once they lose against India, this thing they don't. It doesn't
You want
surprise
to
you.
know the details according to sources, according to very reliable sources.
Yes, if you are telling you, I will always believe your source because Nikhil, and this is not just saying it because you are. I'm with you on show. One of those journalists I know. When you say source, there are very few journalists. When they quote source, I trust them because this is not you do it quite often. Every day, if you using source,
Yeah.
then you just lose the credibility.
So the fact is that Babar, after the match, he said good things and bad things about whatever.
Yeah.
And Shaheen Shah Afridi stood up and said, no, why are you only pointing the negative? Why not pointing the positive about the team? So Babar said, no, I am. So there was a bit. Now, depends on which side of the divide of Pakistan you listen to. There is a Karachi-Lahore divide, right? Yeah. So now, even though Shaheen Shah Afridi does not come from Karachi, but so it's more like the Punjab versus non-Punjab divide, right? So if you listen to the Punjab camp, journalists, sources, everyone, they will say, Babar was right. He was only saying things in the right spirit. Shaheen Shah Afridi took it in a wrong manner. Okay, and Shaheen Shah is doing this because he has aspirations of becoming a captain because he did well in PSL as captain of Lahore Qalandars. So now he thinks he's captain material. So he's stepping in. If you listen to the other side, they think, oh, Babar was demeaning. He shouldn't have said it. And Shaheen is right. He stood up for the rest of the players. And he said it. So different version from different. The fact is both contradicted each other in the team meeting. But my point is, you're very right. That what is a Pakistan team without this? But the thing is, when this happens, they become more dangerous. I was so surprised that that day when I saw the Pakistan team taking the field, they're doing a huddle and cheering each other, conversation, fucking up each other. So much bonhomie within the team, and this is before this.
Bonhomie and Pakistani team.
Yeah.
You don't find it strange in the same sentence.
Yeah, and I was like, this is not the Pakistan team. I know they are two good guys. So even at the best of the Wasim, Waqar, Shoaib, they were the best bowlers, but had to have some sort of friction. And that is what made them dangerous.
Didn't speak first. Throughout the career, most of the time, Waqar and Wasim didn't speak to each other. And people never felt, that's typical of Pakistani cricket. And as well, it just speaks volumes. Because sometimes, even if you have differences, they put aside all their personal egos and they play as a unit.
Yeah.
But how often it happen in modern time, I'm not too sure.
It doesn't. But as I said, that is what makes them dangerous.
Yeah.
It's much like Bollywood actors, I believe, sometimes there used to be certain films that big Bollywood stars would do.
Yeah.
When they would come on screen, you would see the chemistry.
Yeah.
As soon as the director would say, cut, no conversation, they would just go separate ways, never talk. That sort of,
I think so. I would agree with that.
that sort of thing happens with Pakistan. I don't know whether that's making buzz in India, but this is making a lot of buzz here about what has happened with Pakistan, the fallout.
But amazing. Imagine, just turn it around. Had it been happening in India, like something like this, say, just imagine hypothetically something between Virat and Rohit. And the whole Pakistan cricket would have gone berserk, millions of views that they would have been debating 24. Like Indian media channels, we are just saying, passing, this is one of the items. We just discuss it and just move from. But for them, this becomes the hottest cake. It will sell, TRP will go.
I was watching some of the Pakistan YouTube channels.
You are a big fan of Pakistani YouTubers. You watch my channel. I wish you spend half of the time as much you spend Pakistanis.
So I was watching one. You did a 6-hour live with it. There was one thing I was watching where India lost, right? So they had the title of the video is very sad news. India lose to Bangladesh. What is sad?
Coming from a Pakistani.
Yeah, Pakistan channel actually running bottom slant. Very sad news.
Yeah.
India lose. So I was like, they say I also report on Pakistan or if they win or lose. I'm not gonna, let's say they
Sad
lost
or-
to Sri Lanka. Very sad. Pakistan. Or happy.
Yeah.
We do it objectively, right? For them, you're right. It makes big, big news.
That's a different kind of clickbait.
Yes.
Positive clickbait.
Positive. So that's what happened. That's the latest from here. Sorry, we interrupted you guys. Go ahead.
No. I mean, we have also been like following the drama that has been happening in Pakistan. I mean, Shaheen Shah and Babar Azam in particular. it's-
2 minutes, they are just coming up. Yeah.
And on top of that, if you look at it, the injury was to Naseem. Now out for almost the whole year.
See you.
That is an even bigger jolt for Pakistan than what I can think about it.
Yeah.
So that is the bigger thing that I'm worrying about. Pakistan,
I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys. Just give me 1 minute while you're talking. Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
sure. So based on the current situation, I mean, even there is a bit of optimism and a bit of cautious optimism that maybe Sri Lanka can put up a fight. There is a carnival atmosphere, but remember, if they win, it will change the entire landscape of Sri Lankan cricket, because
It will.
what happened in 2022, everybody dismisses as a
As a
fluke.
one-off.
But remember, beating India, it remains one of the highest priorities for Sri Lanka ever. Because see, playing 1982, their first test was important, but it was not considered a watershed moment for them. Even today you go, what is the best moment for Sri Lanka? When they beat India in 1985 for the first time in a test match. For them, beating India is the pinnacle. Whatever way you look at it, Australia is there. Sri Lanka always wants to put on a good show against Australia and England, but beating India is right up there. And that is why this confrontation, looking at the circumstances that Sri Lanka has been through for the past 2 years, if they win this, that too just before the World Cup,
It's a big boost.
it's a big boost. Doing this despite injuries to 4-5 top stars. So that is the current situation then. So Nikhil is back with us. Yes, he is.
Yeah, so until Siddharth sorts out whatever mic issues he
Mic
has,
issues.
I don't know what they are. But I think, see, let's be fair. Sri Lanka, you can't write them off in the slightest. I know we've made a lot of jokes about, you don't want to watch India Sri Lanka bilateral series because they're going one way.
Yeah.
But I mean, this Sri Lanka side, I think have overperformed expectations in the Asia Cup for 2 straight years now.
Yes.
2022, no one expected them to make it this far. 2023 too, I mean, they've done really well. And out of nowhere, they seem to be unearthing new talent. Someone like a Velalage has, I think, outperformed expectations significantly.
Yep. There is also.
They are one determined bunch.
Yeah, I mean,
to
it
say
was
the least.
it was highlighted in that press conference that Naveed Nawaz, their assistant coach, had pointed out just before the game against India. When they are put under pressure, Sri Lanka, they are much more resilient in that manner. They can dig deep. They can ensure that, okay, we put up a fight. Whether they win or lose, but they'll always put up a fight. Very rarely you will see a very meek surrender, if you have to look at it,
Correct.
from the Sri Lankan team. So, kind of in that way, see, this is a battle which was much deserved, because Sri Lanka always the underdogs. Remember, 11 ODIs, last 11 ODIs between India and Sri Lanka, it's overwhelmingly been India 9,
Correct.
Sri Lanka 2. So somewhere down the line, Sri Lanka will be determined to end that losing streak that they have got against them. 4 consecutive now, 3-0. They were hammered in 2023 in that famous KL Rahul series and Shubman Gill series. Now, Asia Cup, let's see what happens. So, Nikhil, aside from all the drama, I mean, I also did a video where the number of injuries now, when you look at it, Sri Lanka are plagued with injuries. Now their team composition is totally going to go awry. What do you think can Sri Lanka do? Salvage the best out of the situation? How they can salvage the best out of the situation?
No, I think firstly, Tikshana going out, Dushan Hemanta, I think, is that all-rounder that is going to come into the 11 more time here. He's that leg spinner, a decent batter as well. So he comes in. But he is obviously not going to be able to compensate what Tikshana does, and which is, an amazing ability to goal in any situation of the match. So that's a rare quality to have. So they're definitely going to miss him. But then, this is what is the Sri Lankan team. They came into this tournament without a Chamera, without Hasaranga, and and yet they are here in the final. So they've lost to Tikshana. I think they'll be more worried whether he'll be available for the World Cup or not, because it's a hamstring tear. It's a second grade, so that's going to take a long time to recover. So we don't know. But I think in terms of a team combination, I don't think they'd be worried so much. Sometimes those are the things that really fire you up. But as I said, the home support here, spin-friendly tracks are the ones that are going to help them. Though it's not going to be as spin-friendly as the earlier game. One thing you mustn't forget, see, we've had a few games. So they've been essentially two strips that they've been alternating between these games. And now you've had a few games here. So the pitches are going to be tiring, which is why what you saw in that Bangladesh game and the game before that in Pakistan, Sri Lanka as well, that 260 50 overs, that's a dangerous total. 260, 65 is going to be tough because stroke making is not easy. And I think those are the conditions where Sri Lankans really know how to play really well. Also, you mustn't forget the ball does turn. But if there is a rain delay, and after the rain delay, you tend to see that the turn reduces a bit. So it becomes slightly easier to play spinners as well. The ball gets wet sometimes because you try and dry the outfield, but still it gets wet a bit. And the turn and the dryness of the pitch then goes away to an extent, even though it's covered. And the turn that you get before a rain delay and after the rain delay also changes. So it all depends on when the rain delay happens, which amount of batting do you do before that, after that. So many other factors will come into play in terms of conditions. But yeah, you'll have to be at your, put your best foot forward. The biggest, apart from Sri Lanka, the one biggest hurdle for India is going to be their mindset. And I think this is the real test of Indian team's mindset. What have we been saying? That just suddenly the same Indian team, which is made up of superstars, which perform at a consistent level, which can beat any team on a given day. We talk about all of that. Yet we've seen when it comes to the crunch game, the semi-finals, the final, suddenly the fear of failure or the weight of expectations just brings them down. And that performance just doesn't come. They just bottle it on that day. So I think that is the biggest hurdle, that mental hurdle. On a big day, do you go play fearless cricket, forget everything, and play fearless cricket, your best cricket on that day? Or do you then play percentage cricket, go into a shell, which has been happening with the Indian team? That's going to be a real test. And that should be a sort of a preview, a curtain raiser for all of us going ahead to the World Cup. Because if we talk about the World Cup today, most of us would say, yeah, India is the semi-final team for sure. Right. After that, it's two games. But it's what happens in those two games which becomes very crucial. And will India be able to turn up a corner, change those things around, get that monkey off their back? We'll only know at the World Cup, but the signs, the signals we can see in this final, which is why this game then gains a lot of importance.
Nikhil sir, I also wanted to ask a question, and I think this is something a lot of us will be worrying about. How's the weather at Colombo? Has it been raining today?
Very good question. Very, very good question. And I think that's the, more than a cricket game, which only very few people are interested in, if interested at all. But I'm sure everyone is interested in the weather. And I think I've done more weather reports than cricket updates in this store of mine. Such has been the tour. But overall, before I come to today's weather, overall, all the skepticism, all the, concerns we had with matches in Colombo, by and large, it's been fun. India has had all their Super 4 games. We've had, I think, all Super 4 games. Yeah, not a single one also washed out. We got a result in all Super 4 games. So I think that's a big relief to begin with. Yes, you've had stop-start games. You've had one game going to a reserve day. But overall, if you see, you've had results in all Super 4 games, which does save the organizers much embarrassment they could have got had these games not happened. So it's in that sense, come as a major relief for the organizers that you've had all 4 games. Kind of calms Siddharth also down. Imagine if one of the games had been washed out and the one carried on the reserve day. At the end of the day, every game happened, right? One went to the reserve day, but at least everything happened. So nobody can really complain that we didn't get a chance to finish our game and the others did. So now whatever was decided was on the basis of the on-field performance. No split points. So on that front, it's great. But today it's been dry. It's been completely dry. It was a nice, hot, sunny day. That can be viewed as good news. It can also be viewed as bad news because usually a bright sunny days followed by a day of rain. I hope
Yes.
that doesn't happen. Sometimes we've got two good bright sunny days in a row in Colombo. Hopefully happens to be that. Again, I was checking the weather app. There is rain predicted, some 80% chance or something. But again, as my experience tells me, that when that rain comes earlier in the day, later, we don't know. So the only real update of the weather I can tell you tomorrow. But today, yeah, I can confirm clear day, hot day during daytime. And then even now in the night, there are no gray clouds. It's a clear sky that I can see behind me. Breezy evening with lots of breeze coming in from the ocean side.
Wow, that's a wonderful sign indeed. But if there is supposed to be, you'll get a player of the match, player of the series, and everything. But you should give a special award to the groundsman of the Ketarama. I mean, they have done a remarkable job. Whatever way you look at it, they turned the matches around. They were quite, positive with the way how they got the covers in, ensured that not more of the outfield would be damaged. It needed a freakish 1-2 minutes of rain to damage one part of the outfield. Though. But even the groundsman, then they couldn't do anything about it. So I hope they give one special award to the groundsman at the Ketarama for the amount of rainfall that they have had to deal with.
And the amount of, let's say, preemption and everything that they've had to do.
Yeah,
I think this has been a very trying time for all those ground staff, and they've done a commendable job. No two ways about it.
Exactly. But then coming to the Indian team at this point, now whether you'll see Washington Sundar immediately slot back in that playing 11, because see, he will give you batting a little better like Shardul Thakur or almost like Akshar Patel. He's an off spinner. And Sri Lanka might be playing 3 different types of spinners in the final. You will have Dushan Hemanta, who's a leg spinner.
Yeah.
You'll be having Veldalage, who's a
Left arm orthodox.
You've got Charit Asalanka and Dhananjay De Silva as
2 off spinners.
So, can India afford to get Washington Sundar in immediately, or they'll play the safe way? If the pitch is spinning, play Akshar, Jaddu, Kuldeep, or if it's like a pretty flat, evenish pitch, you will play Shardul. Do you see any place for Washington Sundar Nikhil in your playing 11 when the final happens, or do you think India will only stick with Shardul Thakur then?
Let's hear all your thoughts. Everyone can tell me what do you think. Does Washington get him? Then I'll chip in.
If you ask me, I think it will really be condition dependent, and you're not going to know that until you see what pitch you're getting for the final. I think, Jadeja and Kuldeep are sure shot starters.
Sure shot, yes.
Then it really comes down to the battle of the number 8s, as it always does. If they find that maybe this might be a pitch that will offer something extra for the spinners, then 100% bring in Washington Sundar. You know what he gives you. And he'll add some variety to your spin attack, because again, off spinner.
Yeah.
Before this, with Akshar and Jadeja, you had 2 of the same spinners.
Yeah.
And they weren't that effective in the games.
But in tandem, they rarely are effective, unless it's Test cricket in the Indian subcontinent.
Although
They're not going to be that effective.
let's not also discredit that Akshar did give you a good.
No, with the bat, I'm not questioning him at all. He was fantastic with
But
the bat.
when you're talking about the spin,
But with his
variety-
bowling,
yeah.
was leaving a lot to be
Also,
desired.
we've seen at Colombo that the conditions are very different on the
Two different strips, yeah.
On the 2 different strips we've seen in India versus Pakistan, that was a belter of a wicket.
No, yeah.
And then in the Sri Lanka match, we saw that was a pretty spin track. But I think that's what's going to be the most important part here is when it comes to team composition. But I think it's going to be more spinner centric if we get the kind of wicket that we had in the last match.
Looking at it, it'll be a tired pitch, as Nikhil had also pointed. It'll be a tired pitch.
If it's a
that's
tired
the case,
pitch, then Washington walks in for me.
Yep.
then Washington for me too. Because my bowling combination then would be Hardik is anyway there. Then you're going to see Kuldeep, Jaddu, Washington kind of sorts that number 8 problem, but again remember he's not that much of game time.
Yeah, his problem forever perennially is injuries. So lack of game time is always an issue with him. Plus he's being flown in straight away.
Exactly.
That's the only disadvantage.
That lack of game time is my only concern when it comes to Washington
But
Sundar.
he's been practicing at Bangalore, is it?
He has been. But still, that doesn't compensate. You
Yeah,
need
it doesn't
game time out
amount
in the
to
middle.
international cricket, of course.
So if the pitches
No, but
spin-friendly, Nikhil, and
but KL Rahul did have any game time. KL Rahul was also practicing in Bangalore. Gets here,
Even Virat.
gets the first game that he plays, gets 100 straight up. So, without game time for so many months, you can still get it. So, I mean, sometimes it can work for you if you've been practicing regularly as Washington has. But I think I'd be very surprised if Shardul does not play, no matter what the conditions, because it is the kind of indication that I've got from the team that is their preferred combination going into a game. Their preferred combination is to go in with three fast bowlers, which is two out and out pacers, one fast bowling all rounder, and one batting all rounder who happens to be a fast bowler in Hardik Pandya, and then two spinners. So I think that is their preferred 11. So until something drastically changes, and even looking at the kind of pitch that I think, the pitch that I've been told is the Bangladesh strip only that they are planning to use. I don't know if it's 100%, somebody was telling me. But the kind of pitch that I was telling you about, that 260 sort of pitch is the one that they're going to use. I think on that pitch, they will go with a Shardul and not go in with a spin bowling all-rounder. They'll go in with a fast bowling all-rounder. That's my gut feeling. Unless it's a minefield of a track, then maybe India looks at Washington. Again, I doubt it. So if you ask me at the 11th, it's Shardul who's playing tomorrow.
And if Shreyas Iyer, the Shreyas Iyer conundrum, what about that? If he's fit, does he come back in? Is the team management keen on having him back?
How can you, I mean, all of you can chip in with your thoughts, but this time I'll start. How can you fiddle with your best 11 in the final? There's no chance of you doing that. Your best 11 you've seen is the one that played against Pakistan, is the one that played against Sri Lanka, the one that helped you qualify for the final. Yes, it happened by chance because Shreyas was injured and so KL got a chance. But now after the games that have happened since then, the best 11 is this throughout the tournament. So it's pretty obvious that best 11 plays. So I'd be very surprised if you want to make that change. We since yesterday were told that Shreyas Iyer wasn't 100% match fit. We don't know what the latest is today. We'll get to know about his update only tomorrow. But assuming he's past 100% fit to play, unless there is another injury and then he comes in, then it's fine. But otherwise, I'd be very surprised he comes in. So you play with your best 11 is the one that played against Pakistan and Sri Lanka, which is without a Shreyas Iyer. For him, it may be crucial to be declared fit. Whether he plays in the 11 is not. But for him, it's going to be crucial. Because if he's not even going to be fit for the time the Asia Cup final is there, then maybe it'll be time for the management to start thinking of a replacement. You can't be waiting for so long for a player, no matter how good he is. But if you ask me personally, I think he makes sure 11 on his batting ability. He does make the 11, but it's his fitness issues that is causing a lot of trouble. So that is something that needs to be looked at. So for him, it will be good personally that he passes a fitness test. At least then he sticks on with the team for the Australia tour and then move forward. If he does not, maybe the team starts thinking of somebody else. But in terms of 11, even if he's fit, I doubt he makes the 11.
Yeah, actually, I won't actually keep him in the 11. Unfortunately, I do think he will strengthen it significantly. But you don't want to be making a tweak for a final. Even though I'm not a big fan of, as Rahul at 4 and Kishan at 5. I think that does kind of distort their best positions a little. I think you have to stick to that for now. Because, God forbid, he ends up coming back in, not having a good game in a final. You don't want to put that pressure on him. I think keep him, if he's declared fit, good news, keep him ready for Australia. You have 3 matches there, and
but
then
if he's not playing the Asia Cup final, I think he's not playing Australia also.
no, I think again, he could very well be declared fit and they choose not to bring him in.
Yeah.
Very much a possibility.
No, because see, if he's declared fit, I think he plays. Just because to give the batting order a lot of stability. Because remember, I know
Who goes out?
Yes, Nikhil?
Who goes out?
Kishan has to go.
Just now, Ishan Kishan was ahead of Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul
Correct.
as the guy who was going to be a wicketkeeper batsman. 2 games down the line, KL Rahul has gone ahead of him, and now Shreyas Iyer also goes ahead of him. Who is Ishan Kishan? I got a feel for him.
Yeah, actually, that's the problem. Because again,
Because Kishan, I'll tell you one thing. 87, after that 87 that he hit against Pakistan, he's actually shown his technical weaknesses all over again. And on spin-friendly conditions in particular, he will struggle, Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, but I think the conundrum is you're caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
It's a case of either do you stick with Kishan knowing full well that after that Pakistan game he's not done that much, because again that Pakistan knock came in very difficult circumstances. Let's not take anything away from him. It was a good knock at a time when India was struggling. Him and Hardik Pandya putting together a nice partnership. So do you do that, or do you go for Shreyas, who's a proven commodity? Again, considering the fact that it's a final, I would say that even if Shreyas is fully fit, you stick with this combination and then bring Shreyas back into contention come the Australia series. I think that's what I would do. I'd stick with the same combination come what may.
No, similar. I have because now there's just one game left. If this was the Bangla, I don't know. If we had a couple more games and we knew that we had a place in the final, maybe it could have been different. Maybe you could have brought in Shreyas Iyer, had him do the fitness test. But now I don't think there should be any changes. We've been, opposing experimentation so much, so I don't think there should be any experimentation right before a final. But then we have the Australia series to kind of test how he's been doing.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do well, knowing that he's had, back spasm and then he's been out of the game for a long time, we always have Ishan Kishan to look back on.
Because if it's like, see, it's the situation at the Ketarama where you're going to face spinning decks in the Sri Lanka game, like the Bangladesh game, which was very spin friendly. I think Shreyas can top it. He can play spin better. And remember, Sri Lanka are going to employ a 3-pronged spin attack. 4-pronged spin attack. Asalanka, Vellalage, Dhananjay De Silva, and there's also Hemanta, Dushan Hemanta. And also you are going to see that, I think I've said all 4, right?
These are 4.
These are the 4. You need a good player of spin. And remember, Ishan does tend to get bogged down.
I mean, yesterday you saw it. He went for a very lazy reverse sweep.
It was an unwanted reverse sweep in the situation. Surya tried excessive sweep, Ishan tried a reverse sweep.
Yeah.
Beat that.
Bad idea.
Really. So yeah, maybe it's split on that, but looking at conventional wisdom, I think India will not make many changes.
Yeah, they won't.
Because then you're losing out on a left-hand option also in Ishan Kishan, so that's why.
Yeah, because I don't think Tilak is sticking in for the final. No chance.
No. I mean, see, all your other regulars are coming back.
Correct.
I mean, Virat is back at 3. It'll be Ishan or KL at 4 or 5, whatever is that. Hardik slots back in. Jaddu, Kuldeep, and then you've got Shardul. I don't think they are going to make that change so soon. And Bumrah and Siraj.
Yeah.
That's the playing 11 for India in the game against Sri Lanka, the final.
Potentially.
Yep. So the only thing is, I hope rain stays away.
Yeah, I think that would be the major concern. More so than anything else.
Yep.
Is if the rain stays away, doesn't spill it over. At least there's a reserve day. But still, a reserve day does tend to stretch you out a lot.
Remember, Colombo, major events,
Reserve day.
reserve days. It's
ICC
a match
Champions Trophy.
made in heaven. But luckily, this reserve day, my goodness, it at least will start from the point where it was suspended.
Yeah, unlike in 2000.
Oh, two.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The game started again.
Exactly. You had one innings, it was rained out, and so the game started from scratch, and then it was rained out again.
Who made the?
That time, that was the playing conditions.
Those
And
were the rules.
remember, at that time, to constitute a minimum ODI match, it was not 20 overs, it was 25 overs.
Oh.
And India, Sri Lanka had made 225, India in 7 overs had made 30. Then the rain came, it again started from scratch. Sri Lanka batted yet again, but India didn't get to bat.
So twice, basically, India didn't get to bat.
I just hope that is the thing. So, yeah, that's the playing 11. And the universal consensus is that India are not taking Sri Lanka lightly.
I don't think they can.
But they are the favourites. They are the favourites to make it 8 Asia Cup titles, 7 plus 1, which means 7 ODI trophies and 1 T20
right?
trophy. Any other thoughts? Who could be the major player for you in that Asia Cup final?
I don't know about major.
Kuldeep.
Yeah, I think he will be key. But I'm very curious as to see Bumrah if he gets to bowl full 10 overs.
Yeah.
We haven't really got that opportunity yet.
Yep.
Where he's got to bowl fully, and we know he's a match winner.
He is.
But I want to see him bowl 10 overs.
Yep.
Very, very curious to see that.
Then, if I have to look at from the Indian context, hope KL has a good game.
Yeah.
And if I have to look at the Sri Lankan side, I would look at
Vella Lage.
no, not Vella Lage. I think the guy who needs to step up.
Dasun Shanika.
No, Kusal Mendes. Far too long he's been inconsistent. Now it's the time to show that on the bigger stage you can do it. So that is the way I look at the players who are to watch out for. Nikhil, what about you? Who do you think should have a major impact in the final for India and Sri
Any
Lanka?
audience questions today from our viewers? No questions
We will
today?
take audience questions.
Okay.
We will take. Before this was the question, after that I would take the audience questions. Which player do you think will have an impact in the final for India and Sri Lanka?
Ooh, tough one. I'll go with Dimut Karnaratne. I think he might just have a
Provided he plays.
game.
Dimuth.
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't he play? Why,
Because he was replaced by Kusal Janit Pereira. Much more attacking option.
But I liked him when he was. I think he played that Pakistan game, right? And he gave them that.
No, that was Kusal Pereira.
No. I think Karnaratne played.
No. Karnaratne was dropped.
The Pakistan.
It was Kusal Janit Pereira
Was
who
that
came
the game
in.
before? Was it before the game versus Pakistan?
See, he got out cheaply against India. He did well in the Bangladesh game.
No. Yeah, 1 second.
The Pakistan match, it was Kusal Pereira. Oh, only 1 minute to go.
Comments?
Yeah, we'll take comments. Let Nikhil think about it. Yeah, so who is your player of the tournament? Yashwant P. and
Yeah,
VR?
Karnaratne was dropped in that game. I
Yeah.
think I'm talking about the Bangladesh game then. Yeah,
Yes.
that was the Bangladesh game. Who would I? Okay, let me. I want to go with a left field, so I'll go with Kusal Pereira. Let him, bring out his inner Sanat Jayasuriya.
Of course.
And do something outstanding. So left field from that. From India, Rohit Sharma.
Of course.
Just both left field. I just
Got out
just a
for a
wide
silver
guess.
duck against Bangladesh.
We'd hope he'd have
Right.
which is why I picked him.
Yep. So, Nikhil, I think your Zoom link, I think, is going to
Okay.
expire.
See you. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye. So, Yashwant P. and VR, who's your player of the tournament? For me, it's the groundsman. The Ketarama groundsman. No one else. So, let's see. Ronak Sinha is asking a question for you, Gary. Do you think Aksar looked more comfortable than most of the frontline batters yesterday? India really needs to play left-arm spin better. Rahul, Surya never looked settled. So was Ishan.
Yeah. I mean, you guys will have to answer.
For that matter, even Shardul didn't look very settled.
Didn't look comfortable at all. And it's a strange thing. A left-hander is struggling against left-arm spin.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really surprising.
Yeah, I know. It's basically off spin for
Ishan Kishan, I can understand the ball going away maybe, or a leg spinner getting the ball back in should be easy, but Ishan struggles against spin. That's the big problem for me.
He likes the ball coming onto the bat.
Yeah, that's the problem. Can you just go up? Okay, Sachin Kashyap is saying for tomorrow's match, I go with Shami, Siraj, Bumrah, Kuldeep and Jadeja. My bowling attack, new ball will just blast
Shami and Siraj.
Shami and Siraj.
Again, my problem and it consistently has been is then your middle order go for a toss because you're underusing Shami, either one of Shami or Siraj. Maybe not Siraj. I think definitely Shami will be the one who struggles.
Exactly.
Akash Bharadwaj is saying, I think Iyer would have played the final if he had played Bangladesh, but not now.
Yes, exactly. I don't see him playing the final now either for that
Yeah.
very simple reason. Because if he had to, let's say, be fit for that match. It didn't matter if he failed or not. But now it's a bit of a touch and go. Anyway, another comment. You got freaking awesome who's saying this is the first ever victory for Bangladesh in Colombo. The problem with our management is that more than trusting your players, they want preferred players to come good even when you have better options. I mean that is something that I'll say for the the
post of the final.
Yeah,
Post final.
exactly.
What is the outcome of the result? Because see, all the rotation, workload management will take a backseat if India win the Asia Cup.
Correct.
No, but also there is, give credit to the Indian management for sticking with KL Rahul the way that they did, because he came good in the Asia Cup.
Somewhere Sanju Samson is crying.
Yeah, but kudos to Rahul Dravid, because he really showed faith in.
I mean, he showed
KL
faith
Rahul,
for that matter even in
when
Shreyas.
all the world was against him.
For that matter, even Shreyas. They've been very patient with him for ODIs.
So they really know how to who to pick and choose.
Rahul Dravid, he himself will know the art of the long rope, because remember, it took him 2 to 3 years to establish himself in the ODI setup.
True.
He was a great test player, but as a white
ODIs,
ball player,
yeah.
it took him a lot of time. And remember, it was the Toronto series in Pakistan where he established himself. And he never looked back from that. I mean, come on. He was panned when he scored 1 of 21 against Kenya.
That's why he became.
That was rock bottom for Rahul Dravid, and everybody thought he cannot have the temperament for a white ball format. But 1 year after that rock bottom, he got 461 in the 1999 World Cup, leading run getter. So,
Arun Teja is not very impressed with the team management because he's saying that they'll be planning to experiment tomorrow also, saying they need to give exposure to youngsters in knockout games. I doubt that happens. I think you're playing a full
see, the experimentation is around whether Shreyas Iyer will make it. That is called experimentation.
That's the only one, really.
I think. Because I don't think Washi will fit in. It's not going to come in because there's no time and not much of game time also. So, what are the chances of Sanju in Oz ODIs or still Akash? Was no chance for
There's
Sanju.
no chance now unless Shreyas gets his injury is deemed serious. Only then.
Hashtag justice.
But then you got Surya.
No, but you still need a backup, no?
Backup to a backup.
Yeah, you need your backup, because if your main is injured, then your backup becomes main, so you need the backup. Then maybe then a Sanju comes in, but actually, even then there's no guarantee. They might just go with Tilak at this
Tilak, I know. Sanju is not even in the periphery. That's the problem. They'll go with Tilak.
No, Sanju is in the periphery. He's the next person. Because remember, who are the 3 players who dropped?
Prasidh, Tilak and Sanju.
So Tilak seems to be preferred right now because they played him and even made him bowl a bit.
So see, Sanju, it's like in the 3 reserves, Sanju is RLWL, remote location waitlist.
Correct.
Tilak is pooled quota waitlist. And, Tilak is RAC. Prasidh is pooled quota waitlist. And Sanju is remote location.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have a chance.
He's got a long shot at best.
Yeah. Unless Ishan gets injured.
Yeah, actually, then you need a wicket keeper.
Then you need a keeper.
Sachin Kashyap is saying Dhananjay D. Silva and Virat Kohli will be the key for tomorrow.
I don't disagree. I mean, the king rules. The king rules at the Ketarama.
And we know he loves, big occasions.
Of course. He averages over 250 at the Ketarama at this point in time in the last 5 games. And bigger the
I think we're done.
Occasion? Yeah, I think we're done. These are
repeats. So I think we're good.
These are all railway announcements that's happening at this point.
So we're good to go at this point. We have determined that, India should not, in fact, be underestimating or taking Sri Lanka lightly, even though they're going to be starting this Asia Cup as favourites. But we love hearing from you guys as well. So let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this final, if you're looking forward to it or not. Yeah. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe as well. Tap that bell icon, follow us on socials, download the SportsTech app, and stay tuned. Plenty more coming your way from Sports Today. So for now, though, from Gargi, me, and Sidvi, is bye-bye.
Yep, but yes, Ronak, I do remember, but India will go all out. They have to win. They have to go all out to win. That's the thing.
That's probably not. Let's see.
Yeah.